You don't have to be my age to know the name Patty Hearst, but if you remember the 70s, she is definitely part of your history. Back in the day when there were 3 nightly news programs on the air and cable news hadn't yet been born, let alone the internet, the story of a young heiress kidnapping was almost as big as Vietnam. She had been taken by a left-wing terror group called the Symbionese Liberation Army. And in 1974, 2 months after Patty was kidnapped, the SLA released an audio recording in which Patty could be heard declaring that she had joined the group and had taken on the name Tania. Days after that, Tania popped up on the San Francisco bank's security camera alongside her captors, and she was holding a rifle and taking part in a robbery. In May of that year, 51 years ago this month, the LAPD got a tip that the SLA was holed up in a house in South Los Angeles. And so 500 officers descended on that house and fired 5,000 rounds into the house. The Associated Press was on the scene and they filed this gripping report.
5 suspected members of the Symbionese Liberation Army are dead following the bloodiest and most massive gun battle in the history of Los Angeles. Hundreds of police and FBI agents surrounded this small house on East 54th Street in the south central area of the city. Shortly before 6 p.m., gunfire erupted. For more than an hour, thousands of rounds of automatic weapons and small gunfire were exchanged between police and the suspects inside the house. 6 tear gas assaults were made in an attempt to flush out the fugitives, until finally, houses on either side, as well as the pink wood and stucco fortress, caught fire. A fire believed to have been started by an exploding gas canister. Coming out. Some of the bodies were burned beyond recognition and awaited final positive identification following coroner's autopsies. It was an incredible, almost unbelievable ending to the most intensive manhunt of recent years. And yet, it was viewed as it happened by millions watching on national television. This is Pete Miller in Los Angeles.
It's awesome, isn't it? The extreme response was criticized by many, including Patty's father, Randolph Hearst, who said the raid turned, quote, dingbats into martyrs. 6 SLA members were killed in the raid, including the group's leader, Donald DeFries. And as it turned out, Patty Hearst wasn't even there. And Patty wasn't caught until September of 1975, more than a year after she was kidnapped. During the investigation, Patty described to the police that she'd been raped and that she'd been brainwashed while in captivity. Still, she stood trial for that bank robbery, and she was convicted in 1976 and sentenced to 7 years in prison. 3 years later, in 1979, President Carter commuted her sentence to the 22 months that she'd already served. And then President Clinton pardoned Patty Hearst outright in 2001.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.